a camera mic.
No.
I can. Camera, microphone.
Your own, yes. Can you do that to one of the people? If you can't, just let me know. I'm here in the background anyway, so just let me know who you want to speak and I'll just go and give them the rights. Okay?
So they can hear us?
Yeah, everyone can hear you because I can, so everyone can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
if somebody was going to use this in their session, how would it work? Because they can't really get people to talk to one another. So how would it, if we were the moderators, would someone like you or Nellie have to be here with us to turn on the permission?
No, not necessarily. If you had your own account on WizIQ and you create the class, then you can do whatever you like and you can give the rights. Like when I did, I don't use WizIQ as much anymore, but when I did with my private students, I just gave them controls during the whole class. So I didn't have to worry about stopping and starting because I didn't have, obviously, a lot of students. I only had a maximum of 4 students. They were all adults. And so it was just a matter of chatting, giving everyone time and space to chat and write on the board. But when you're in a large session like this, like a webinar, you would only grant access video and microphone as it's needed. You wouldn't do that to everyone, otherwise the noise would be incredible.
Okay. And what about the presentation? We have a presentation.
Yes, the presentation, sorry, that was me. I was supposed to put that up. I'm putting that up now. Again, this is the problem with the new WizIQ. You can't get into the... Okay, it's on the board now. Can everyone see it? Okay.
I can.
And all you need to do, I think you've got the rights, Vance. You should be able to just, the arrows on the bottom, just go forward and that moves the slides.
Okay, yes, I see that.
Okay.
That's great because I can't move it. I think I can't move it. But you can, Vance.
You know what happens sometimes, Sonia, is our screen the WizIQ goes beyond our screen. So if you make the WizIQ window a little bit smaller, you'll see it down the bottom. That was happening to me. All I did now is make it a little bit smaller and I can actually see it down the bottom. Yeah. Okay, so I'm here in the background. Anytime you need me, just holler and I'll come back. Any other questions at the moment?
Well, I'd really like to talk to the moderators and find out how they're doing and if they're having any problems, if they have any questions. So I don't really know what to tell them from the slides here. I don't know, Sonia, do you have a...
Yeah, I've created the slides, so I probably can say a few words about each of them.
Okay, sure. Well, let's start that way then. And these, we like to see your face there, so it's, if you could stay around, and I know you'll be in the background, but maybe you could watch the text chat, and if someone asks for a microphone, you could give it to them. So we could probably do it that way. So if you want to say something, just put something in the text chat, and then Neves will give you the microphone. Okay.
Perfect.
So, well, I'm Vance Stevens. And this is the 5th of November, 2017. We're in EVO Moderator Training. We have a number of moderators here. It looks like probably about 11 of them, or 11 people. That's 8 co-moderators besides myself and Sanya, who is the moderator, the EVO Training moderator, or lead for this week, I guess we call it. So I guess I will hand over to her. And Sanya, where are you? I'm in UAE. I'm in Al Ain, UAE. Where are you?
I'm in Croatia, a small country in Europe. Yeah. I'm Sanya Bojinovic, and I'm one of the members of the EVO coordination team. And on the next slide, would you please, Vance, turn to the next slide, because yes, you can see all the coordinators. I'm also one of the co-moderators of ICT for ELT, one of the sessions. And this today's live session is planned as a kind of wrap-up of our second already week of the moderator training and our introduction into the third week of our moderator training. So this slide is a little reminder who we are in case you need us. You can ask any questions you have about your sessions, about EVO, in our Google Plus community. And Vance, could you please move on with the next slide? We remind you that this week, the second week, was about syllabus and our online spaces. And today we'll ask you, Vance and I, how you're doing with your plans, working on the syllabus of each of the session and choosing your online spaces, the spaces for all the sessions in this year's edition of EVO. Vance, please, next slide. In the next slide, you'll see the picture that we all know from our wiki, and I hope you have followed the instructions to refine your session syllabus. Now, I would like to hear from the moderators in the session how you are doing with your plans, with your work on the syllabus in each of the sessions, and if you need any help, and if you would like to share anything that happened during this week that you've done that you are very happy with in your work with the syllabus. Do you all have the title for your session, abstract, target audience, and so on? So if you would like to grab the mic and talk about what you are working on in your session and how you're doing. This was the main thing to do this week.
I guess no one can really grab a mic, but I could report happily that I've been working on my syllabus today for the EVO Minecraft MOOC session, and I'm about to share it with my co-moderators so they can get in and do it. It's in, I created a Google Doc, which gives us the syllabus, and it links to a wiki. We find that we also have a Google Plus community page, and we had links in the community page that linked out to different aspects of what we're having people do. But since Google Communities changed a little bit, that isn't so visible. So we created a wiki. We call it Missions for EVO Minecraft. And what I do is I make the syllabus, I basically copy the syllabus from last year and the wiki from last year, and I just make sure the parts are hooking up together. Since this is our fourth time in EVO Minecraft MOOC.
So you made a change from last year. This year you have the wiki for the content plus your community.
Yeah, well, plus the Google Docs syllabus. And so that's where we kind of put everything in prose, and we tell people, you should be doing this, and we point them to different weeks in the wiki. And we kind of keep that going. The wiki is really where the content is, and the syllabus is kind of the overview and the philosophical aspects to it. But what they actually do, the missions, the things that they have to do, or they don't have to do, but the things they can do if they want to, other than just get into Minecraft and play around and try not to get killed. Anyway, yeah, so, well, I've been working on that, and so I feel that I'm kind of trying to stay on schedule, on task, on keep up to date, and I should have that ready pretty soon. So how about other moderators? How are they doing? If anybody wants to talk, just grab the microphone, and or not grab it, you have to
ask for it.
Attention. Yes, ask for it in the text chat.
Okay. While we are waiting, I can say that in ICT for ELT, we also have a wiki for the content, week by week, syllabus there, and we have a Google Plus community for all the communication between moderators and participants later. Actually, we have two Google Plus communities, one for moderators only and one that we share with participants.
Yeah, and the way it works is, I think someone in the background might be moving the proposals that people made into a space where we're now going to develop them into the call for papers, the call for participation, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
We have two CFPs. One's a call for proposals, which the moderators in the development session they're working on their syllabuses at the moment, but they're going to also work on the call for participation, which is basically the call for proposal, except that it will have feedback from the coordinators, that's us, and we're basically trying to get them ready to show this to the world by the end of November. But of course, the ultimate deadline is January 14th, which is when, well, no, it's before that, because people will be signing up for their sessions. Once they see the call for participation, then they use that to choose their sessions that they want to attend. So we have to make sure that everybody is ready with that when we open it up to the world, which would be in December sometime. So we give, on the timeline, it should say that there's a registration period. Does anybody recall when that registration period begins? I might be able to find it.
Let me see. It says on the last slide that EVO sessions begin from January the 14th. So registrations January the 8th to January 14th.
Okay, yeah, so that's when a lot of times people might try to join your session beforehand, and it's really up to you if you want to let them in or not. So, but you need to start letting people in by the 8th. That means that things have to be pretty ready, for them to go in there and see what things are about, what it's about, see if they would like to follow your session or if they'd like to choose another. So that's basically the time frame. We're trying in this, what we call the training, we're trying to basically just get people to bring their sessions up to where they can present them, in final format by the end of November, certainly in December sometimes. We're lenient. I mean, we realize people are busy, but they really have to be, the work has to have gone into it. We have to see that you can meet deadlines, and we have to see that it's a serious proposal, a serious kind of thing that will be of the standard of the other sessions that are being proposed.
Yeah, Martha helps here in the chat. She says that the call for participation begins on December the 10th, actually. And what I found in the last slide was registration, which is after the call for participation, of course. So everything should be ready by before we launch our call for participation, and especially these most important parts, like the syllabus of the session, and we all have to be sure that we know which online platforms we plan to use. These are basic things in planning a session that we have to decide right now, in order to for everything to be ready by the time there's call for participation, and the participants are checking the various sessions and deciding to become part of them or not.
And that's where we come in. We're trying to help people. We're here to help people with any issues they come up with or any decisions they need to make. So that's where the coordinators stand. Mm-hmm. So and this is their people's chance to talk to us. So if you we can move on to the presentation, or if anyone has a question, just ask for the microphone. Mm-hmm.
Nobody has asked, so we can move on to the online platforms. Here you can see the most popular ones that we use in different sessions, that different sessions use, and it's up to every team of moderators to decide now which platforms they are going to use, depending on what they plan to do with their session, and after they define all the aspects of the syllabus, all the details of the syllabus. Nelly helps a lot of sessions with the Moodle platform. Those that are using Moodle will ask Nelly for help, and the other coordinators are here for you if you have any questions about other platforms that you think about using in your session.
Okay, I might mention also that we're streaming this. This is kind of a habit of mine. I try to stream any session that we have so that in case people can't reach it, they can go and look in the stream, and on the event page that brought everyone here, you can see how to reach the stream. So if someone is not able to do that, they can look in the stream. We have 2 people watching the stream right now. We have, I think, 3 people in the chat wing text chat. Ayat is trying to get into WizIQ. Did she make it in? And also Jane Chien. Okay. And Jane Chien is there?
Charles would like to say something.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure, Charles.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a point about the different platforms, which I can see on the slide in front of me. There seem to be quite a wide variety from WordPress, PBWorks. What kind of factors do you think it's best to consider in choosing a platform? Basically just what you're familiar with, or is there one platform which is particularly recommended?
I've created a slide, and I think I've taken all the platforms that were mentioned in various sessions.
Okay.
Because all these have been considered in various sessions. In my experience, I would never use a platform that I'm not familiar with as a moderator. I think that's important, because if you're not familiar with the platform, you cannot focus on the content of your session. I think that is important.
Because I noticed there's one platform that I've often used with IATEFL called Adobe Connect. That's not there.
It's not free.
Okay, so that's one parameter. So it has to be, of course, yeah.
It has to be free. If you can use it, I will use it. I will use it with ICT for ELT, because I have a way to get to it without paying for it through academic and research network that I'm using. But and any moderator that can use it and make sure that nobody has to pay for it, you can use it, of course.
Because, for example, I have an account with WizIQ, which I use for online lessons. So I'd be able to quite happily use that for my sessions.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like to just point out that there seem to be 2 different categories of tools here. You just referred to Adobe Connect as a platform. That I might say is it's a synchronous meeting software.
Like this one.
Such as WizIQ or Hangouts, Google Hangouts, Blackboard Collaborate, which is also mentioned there, Skype. These are all, I would think of a platform as being one where you can, almost like an LMS, a learning management system, where you can put your content, and then you would use your synchronous communication tool, maybe embed some of the recordings or also the live events into your what I would call a platform, or a place where you host your content.
Don't you think
2 different things?
Perhaps be a good idea from the perspective of the people who are the teachers who are going to register for this, to agree on a consensus of the platforms to use, so that people who are registering maybe for 2 different or 3 different sessions don't get too confused. And having said that, I see that Ayat has suggested that we ask people here, which platforms they're most familiar with.
Our moderators come at us with, to us with different platforms. Like some
Sure.
were using Schoology, for example. So I think that the choice of, for a given session, the choice of the platform is not that critical. And actually, part of what we're doing now, we're seeing that we can get into WizIQ and
Yep.
interact here, and we're seeing how that works, the look and
It's
the
pretty
feel of it.
nice.
And, yeah, last week we went into Blackboard Collaborate, and with both systems, there are issues with people who can't get in immediately. We have, I'm not sure if that's if everyone has possibly been able to get in. I'm not really sure. There are 3 people watching the stream right now. We have a universal text chat, chatwing.com/VANCESTEV, where people are interacting with us there as well. I think all those people, though, came there have made it into the WizIQ chat. So there are, it's, and I'm not sure, too, you have an account, Charles, but would a moderator be able to select WizIQ without having an account? How would that work for?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think WizIQ are quite careful about the free aspects of their platform that they.
It used to be free, but I don't know if you can use it for free now.
Yeah.
Although we can use it, the participants can. So if you're using WizIQ yourself, you can still have, or Adobe Connect. For
That's
that
right.
matter.
You get the option.
Participants can. Yeah.
When I set up a live class, I have the option to ask the participants if to be able to log on without actually registering with WizIQ. And that's quite useful. But I mean, this platform that we're using now, WizIQ, how are we able to use this? Does one of the moderators have an account on it with it?
I guess we're using it through Nellie, and Neves has her account as well, and she's moderating this session.
A big WizIQ person, yes.
It looks nice. I haven't been here since they've put the little circles for the.
They're trying very hard. Yeah. I must admit, WizIQ, the backup is pretty good. They called me on my cell phone in Italy when I had a problem from India and able to resolve it. And
we're using Blackboard Collaborate from learningtimes.com or .org or .net. I think they have all 3 domains. But anyway, Learning Times has given us Blackboard Collaborate for the last 10 years or so. And was originally Webheads in Action. So we're able to use it. Anybody can use that if they want, because you just go to the site and you scroll down where it says Moderator Entry, and anybody can go in and use it there. And so you don't really have to buy anything. It's given to us on a grant. So yeah, so that's a nice option for if someone doesn't have access to some of these other ones. Then Blackboard Collaborate can be used. Google Hangouts is another one that you can basically just click and do it, except it's limited to 10 people in the actual Hangout.
And they have made some changes like that. I'm not sure. I haven't used it for a while, but I've heard there are some changes in the use of Hangout. There's chat and there is Meet. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it.
What about Skype? Is that still viable?
Yeah, some people use Skype.
I think Skype, isn't it? Well, let's see. Facebook, you can use that, but you're basically talking to people who can then interact with you in text chat.
One-on-one.
Skype, you can have a video call. Could you get a recording? I don't know. You might have to stream it. So
it's not really designed.
Complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to use it a lot. And
okay.
There's always the option of Blackboard through Learning Times.
I see that Sue says, perhaps you can confirm what she says, that we're using Google Plus for discussions, PBWorks for storage, and Moodle or WizIQ for live sessions. That seems to chime in with my understanding.
Yeah. Should be okay.
Is anyone having a problem locating a platform either for live chat or for mounting your session that you'd like to discuss with us or like to ask about? Now, we like to hear your voices.
How many voices can you have on at the same time? Because maybe I can withdraw and let somebody else take a mic.
I don't know. If you use Blackboard Collaborate as a moderator, you can have
6, says Neves.
Okay, Nives is putting up. All right, so you can bring in more people. And,
yeah, I think you can get about 6 at one time in Blackboard Collaborate, but that's just at one time. But people, when they're not speaking, the mic is available to anybody who wants it. And the only thing you really have to watch out for is the headphones, that make sure that people
feedback.
are wearing
Could
headsets.
I just ask Vance a request? If you kindly put in the links. I mean, I know we have them, but the links for the Google Plus page and the PB Works page on in the chat. Is that possible, so that they're on the recording of this session?
Yes, it would be. I'm using this computer to stream, so I'm a little bit. Let's see. How can I do this? Because I have to open a browser to get the URLs, and on this computer I'm streaming, and it's kind of delicately set up to where the windows.
I often get confused with everything going on. You know, where to go and look for the right links to work on this.
Let's see if I can enter.
Google Plus is usually for our discussions, for asking questions, going there for the answers to our questions, and the wiki, the PB Works, is usually for the content.
The storage, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, thank you, Carolina. Google Plus, yeah, that's it. That's a long link. Yeah.
Each of us would have a Google Plus page. I've got a Google Plus page as well.
Your own Google
for
account.
our session.
Yeah.
What I could do, I could put the links to the link to the chat wing here, and then I can put the links into chat wing, and you could bring them back into here if you wanted. So that's where I can work over there. Let me put the link to that. So this is chatwing.com. /VANCESTEV. Okay, so that's where there's a text chat going. And in fact, I can't even see the text chat actually here. I don't know why. It seems
right
the text chat is it's on the left, but it's scrolling off the screen. It seems to disappear. I don't see what. I'm not that familiar with this iteration of WizIQ, and I really cannot see it. I don't know. I can't scroll.
I'm just looking at Chatwing now.
Okay, Chatwing. Okay, so you're there. So what did you request? You would like the
Well, I think
link?
people have kindly already put them up, Vance. I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, the EVO links there. Carolina's put them up, and Cheryl's put up the EVO training. Yeah, I mean, so thank you very much.
The Chatwing is a nice little tool, by the way. It's a kind of a universal chat. It's very easy to reach, and the really neat thing is you get a record that lasts forever. There's a scroll bar there, and if you scroll in the one that I've put up, you can see conversations going back years. Wow. And you get all the links and everything there. And so if you want to keep the reason I use Chatwing is that if I'm doing a Hangout, for example, as we say, you can only get 10 people in the Hangout itself, and you might have people watching it in the stream. And there is a stream chat. Ayat has written into the live stream chat. There are people writing here that people in the stream or not actually here can't see, but everyone can reach the chat wing. So sometimes when we have a Hangout, let's say, and only a couple of people in the Hangout, everybody can converse in the chat wing. And so we can get a transcript from that, and then we can also keep a record.
Sure. I just logged in with my Facebook account very fast. Yeah.
Is Carolina going to join us? Okay.
Do you want to go to the next slide?
Yes, we can move on, and Carolina is going to join us. Use her mic. Just a second, I'm waiting for her. Yes, our next slide is about choosing the session logo. And here she is. Hi, we can't hear you. Hey,
How
I
are
can
you?
hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. How everybody? How is everybody doing?
Fine. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Okay. Sorry. Just go ahead, Tanya.
No, I just want to say hi. I was just explaining how our instructions were to make the logo of the session unique, adaptable, appropriate, and timeless. And I copied this from the wiki. And there is a list of different places you can go to create your logo, different tools to use. And if anyone would like to discuss the logo you have chosen or ask about how to do it or discuss it in any other way, show us the new logo.
Oh, Natasha has just written in chat wing that she can't see the chat in WizIQ either. Somebody maybe should tell us, how can we see this WizIQ chat? We're moderating this session and we can't see what anybody is.
And Nevis explained at the beginning that maybe the WizIQ window is too big and she cannot see all the parts. To make it smaller, and then she can see everything, all the parts.
It's on the left-hand side.
Vance, excuse me, this is Nevis. I've just checked with Dr. Nelly. Apparently the chat box can't be enlarged, and more people that write at the same time, it just flashes by. So there's really nothing I can do about that. I apologise.
Yeah, that happened when everybody was writing.
Yeah.
That's when I said hi Nelly, because somebody mentioned Nelly, and I thought that she arrived. It was flashing all the time. I couldn't read properly.
Yeah, but Charles can see it, and he knows that there are links there. So
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it.
I mean,
It's there. It's there only. It disappears for a few seconds from time to time.
No, and then you can scroll back. There's a bar you can.
A bar? I don't see a bar.
Yeah, you can send a screenshot of it. Does anybody use Snagit? That's really good for screenshots.
Yeah, I use the free one, Jing.
Jing, me too.
That's my favorite.
Aren't they related in a way? You take a screenshot with the Jing and you can do things with it using Snagit. I can't remember now.
If you have made by, sorry.
No, they're all made by TechSmith. Jing is its free kind of, what would you say? It's trial balloon that they've kept up in the air for a long time. But the one you have to buy is Snagit, and then they also have Camtasia. Camtasia, Jing has a video component that only works for 5 or 6 minutes. And it makes FLV files, which is a little bit inconvenient. But with Jing, you get this for free, and you also can store your things on screencast.com automatically. So yeah, and that makes it really handy. And you get a URL for anything you do. You can either store it on your computer, or you can get a URL that you can send to other people immediately. If Charles wants to communicate with us what he sees on his screen, if he's using Jing, he could just do a screenshot, put it up in the cloud.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then you could send us the link. But we can't see the link because it's flashing on the screen. So if you put it in Chatwing, then we could see things there.
I'm going to do that right now. Just a second.
Yeah, it's nice to have. It really is nice to have lots of tools going, so that for anybody. I try to make these things as inclusive as possible, and it kind of confuses people because I've got so many tools open. But on the other hand, we're getting people that really couldn't get in here and are watching the stream and putting things in chat wings. There's lots of places for people to communicate, which makes it nice. Nobody really gets lost.
Yep.
Nobody gets left behind. Let me put it that way.
You need to have the right kind of mind to be able to handle lots of things at the same time. No?
Yeah, and plus I'm streaming. So I can't manipulate my window. If I do, I don't know what's going to happen. Unpredictable results.
And if
I had to squeeze
moderators,
everything.
if moderators in any of the sessions are still working on the logo and are not quite happy, there are logo makers on the wiki. This is copied from the wiki. The slide is copied from the wiki. You can find logo makers on the page, links there. And if you're not happy with the logo you have now, you can change it and you can try some new tools to create your logo for this year's session.
Right.
Yes, Carolina?
Yeah, if I may say something about the logo, that it is going to help you all moderators have an identity across your different platforms, as we have, for example, some moderators decide to have a Facebook group for interaction and then a Schoology page for content. So having the logo in all the spaces is going to help the participants relate. So that's why it's so important for us that people work on interesting, appealing, nice logo for their participants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nobody's asking for mic. We can move on.
Okay, that's my
Thank
cue.
you. Yes. That's a little reminder. Time to share links to sessions, make all the changes and add them to the proposals wiki, and we can move on
Okay.
to our next slide. And that's my question to all the moderators present here. Any questions, any suggestions before we move on to the introduction to week 3?
Okay, and to ask a question, you just have to just put a text message, and if we can see it before it flashes on, or hopefully Neves can see it. And if Neves sees it, then she'll give you the microphone. We'd sure like to hear from you.
One of us will hopefully see.
Mm-hmm. I think Neves can see the chat. Can't you, Neves? Have you got it all there? Are you watching it?
Yes, she's here. Okay. If there are no questions, we can move on to the next slide. And that's the introduction to our week 3, our next week. And this is what we have to do. Add new content, change what needs to be changed, because some of the sessions are repeated. In ICT for LT that I'm co-moderating, we are doing what you mentioned earlier, Vance. We copied the pages from last year and now we are making changes on the copies. So we can have the previous session, last year's sessions intact, and we can use whatever worked last year and change whatever we think we can do better. That's a good way, I think.
I think thinking and reflecting on these things has a lot to do with what you see in what we're doing, how these sessions are going. This is going to be your session, perhaps, or in Blackboard or in Hangout or whatever you decide to use. So you need to see what works and choose tools according to what you find that we're trying to model some of these things. In fact, we deliberately are trying to next week we're back to Blackboard Collaborate at the request of the moderator for that week, or the week leader, I should say, the coordinator who's leading that week. And then the 4th week, Nellie is going to she'll have a Zoom meeting, so you can see how Zoom works. So I don't know if we've done Hangout. We haven't done that yet, but the week before the session started, there's a recording because I'll put that in the chat wing, the recording to that. I was at an unconference, and at the unconference I put a Hangout on Air session up to show people how it worked and recorded that. So you can see that too. I just put that in the chat wing, and you can go and have a look at that if you wanted. So you can see how these things work and decide what you want to choose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cheryl is about to grab the mic.
I'm just
Yes.
uploading the screenshot to Chatroom for WizIQ.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
I'm Cheryl McCoy. Yes, it is afternoon. So I've been thinking about all these things and have been looking at, I'm reading some information and some old things I'd written about feedback. So that's what we need to be thinking about when we talk to each other, I think. What didn't work last year if you've got experience? And how do you know that? Well, one way you know that is if your performance from your participants falls that week, or if some issue comes up, or their quality of presentation is not as good as you would like, that's a clue. That's not a clue about them. It's a clue about us as teachers. We know that when we're face-to-face with students. If they don't succeed, there's something that we need to go look at and go back to and manipulate, either the session, something that's made, how we did it, what they were required to do, how tight, if it's too narrow, if their obligation is too narrow and they can only do a certain thing, that might precipitate more issues. But having said that, I also wanted to talk about I'm sorry I didn't get in soon enough to talk about that slide before.
Which slide? I can put it back.
Okay.
Which slide?
The one just before this one.
Okay, there you are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a little vlog, and it's not my best work, but it's not outrageously bad. So, but basically, I talked to the issues of all these platforms, and then looked at some activities. You see, I've been using the Moodle for Teachers over the last few years, but I started out with Blackboard, and you know, when you're in a school, and especially like a big urban school, you get everything. You have access to all this stuff. So you don't think about free, you don't think about this, you don't think about that, you just go with whatever. And over time, I realized that this Moodle for Teachers, Dr. Nelly's put all kinds of things in there now. And WizIQ's upgraded. These are new, though, so if we don't like something that's happening in here, we can make feedback to them. But I like that Vance and everybody else who has been giving a lesson, that each one have used something different and allowed people to have the opportunity to do that. Because when you're new and those people first come into your class, to your session, I keep calling it a class, it's just a session. So when they do that, they might grab hold of some, like Vance was saying, he knows all these different apps to use. One person might know that one app that you're using and be able to grab hold of that, and that's like their lifeline, you know, when they're new and they don't really know what's going on. And so that's very helpful for people, for moderators and coordinators, for you all to do. So I said more, and I talk a lot, so I'm not going to say anything more unless somebody has a question that I need to clarify something. But I've been thinking about that over the last few days.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to mention one more point from the slide we were discussing before, and that is the thing that some sessions have badges and certificates included in the session, and some not. It's up to moderators to decide whether you want badges and certificates or not, and how to create them and how to share them with your participants. So that's a thing to think about in week 3 too. There are different experiences, different ideas of what badges and certificates do in the session, and not only one way is right, of course.
Yeah, we in EVO Minecraft MOOC, we use Credly to award badges, and a badge makes you set out a criteria for what it does or what it means, and what I do is I have open up a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, and I have participants go through and put links to it's basically their portfolio. So we ask them to take a picture of something they did here or put a video or something. So they put links in the spreadsheet, and what they have at the end of it is basically a portfolio of the things that they've done, and that we open that up to where anybody can see it, and that's the evidence for the earning of the badge. So if we award a badge, it's because they did, say, 7 out of 12 things we asked them to do, and that evidence is there. Anybody who clicks on that badge can get the link to the evidence, and that badge is meaningful through that device.
And that's really
So I like
motivating.
badges. Yeah, badges are nice. And if you do issue a certificate, it cannot say that it's issued by TESOL. It's not issued by TESOL. We are sponsored by TESOL, or we work under the TESOL umbrella, but we don't, we're not connected with TESOL. TESOL has its own paid programs, paid training certificate programs, so they don't want confusion with EVO and with their programs. So I suppose so far we've been doing just fine because we're getting along really well on that one caveat, though. You cannot say in your certificate that it's a TESOL certificate. It's not.
It's not. It's EVO.
Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to mention that. And if there are no questions about badges, we can move on to our next slide. Oh.
Did I go too far? Sorry.
The one.
Yes.
Yes. This is the announcement that next week we're meeting Blackboard Collaborate to learn about a different platform. As you explained before, we are trying to see how we can meet in different platforms, what we can do, so that moderators who are not very experienced can also decide easier on which platform works better for their session if they're thinking about different platforms, and to model live sessions. And our next session is the same time but different platform.
And that date, November 12th, is the date that if you are going to be in Chicago, if anybody who's listening to this broadcast is going to be in Chicago at the TESOL conference there, they can talk, they can come to a session that Cal IS is setting up, and you can, just by writing me or answering I put a call in the Google Plus community and I sent it out to, so anyway, just to let you know, though, that if you're going to be in Chicago, that you could get your name in the program, which I think the 15th is the actual deadline. They're going to print it, so that's it. After that, you could always join the session, but you wouldn't get your name in the program. But if you get your name in the program, you can actually write someone in TESOL who would then send you an invitation. So they try to get people there in case you need funding. So this is an opportunity. It's past the deadline for TESOL itself, but you have a week now to, if you're interested in doing that, this is quite an opportunity. You can get your name in a program. It's a Cal IS Electronic Village program, but you are Electronic Village Online, so that's important for you, I'm sure. So anyway, if you can do that, if you can get that to me by the 12th, if you're interested, just communicate with me and we'll figure out what you might like to do. But you'll be standing up at a lectern and you'll be talking about whatever you like to talk about, as long as it has to do with EVO, the session you're moderating, or your experience, or whatever.
And I hope someone will apply for that. I would, if I were closer. It's so far away from me. And
yeah, we could consider online something virtual as well, because we use Zoom when we stream from there. We stream all these sessions, and so we use Zoom as part of the program. So the Zoom can be, of course, you could meet anybody in Zoom. So, and you'll see that last week after next.
Okay.
Ellie will demonstrate that.
Okay. Nice. And we can move on if nobody wants to say anything about this. This is a reminder again that the registrations start on January the 8th and the sessions on January the 14th. That's how much time we have to prepare every session, to get every session ready for our participants this year.
That seems such a long way away. That's next year. No, seriously. But, you know, there is the things you have to do are trying to set workable deadlines. So this week, your syllabus should be at least sketching it out pretty well, and your logo and getting those things together. So and deciding on the platform, and all this comes bit by bit. And then by the end of the training period, and for the end of November, you'll need, I think it's the 24th of, no, when was it? In the 18th of November. I believe the 18th of November is the last day of the training. Hi.
Hi.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because we were just going on in the chat about it, because I went last year to do the best of EVO, so I wanted to get back to that a little bit, if, you know, just to invite people. It was a really great space because we got to talk about the flipped learning session that I co-moderate. And so it was great to have the opportunity to share what we had done. And we also saw Anna Krulets and Giorgio Nicholas talking about experiential learning. It was the first time they moderated a session, and it was, you know, they went there and they also did their presentation. So it was just kind of like an opportunity to invite people to go, if they're going to go to Chicago, to make sure they fit this event in their agenda. So they get to see you and Mubarak and everyone else in the team, you know, face to face, and they also get to talk about the session. It's a really great opportunity. So if you're going to go to Chicago, definitely make some time. It's not going to be long. It's not going to take a long time to prepare, because you will have all the information after EVO, you know, after conducting your session. So you're going to have all the information ready. It's just a really great opportunity to share what you do and for people to know what you're doing in your session. So just wanted to say that. Sorry.
Very good. Thank you very much for coming on and adding that. Those are the words I was searching for.
Thank you, Carolina, for sharing. And that brings us to the last slide. This is the last slide, the end of our presentation. And that's it for this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just am taking part in this EVO.
Right, who take on thousands of participants. They have special techniques for that. In EVO Minecraft MOOC, we probably get about 100 people, but then we get maybe 20 that we interact with during the session. So you can consider that you probably, what you're comfortable with, I don't really know, but the MOOC idea is that basically people, you get a lot of people in a session, and
massive online.
Possibly, if you can't interact with all of them, they'll start interacting with each other. And that's actually one of the really nice things about MOOCs, is you meet people that you relate to, and you learn from them. And so in a way, I often say that EVO is a MOOC, because it kind of works that way. So if you, I don't know about, if your session is very top down and you expect people to do things that you tell them to do, maybe it won't work that way so much. But if you have a space for people to interact, then...
But I think the limitations on the number of people you can have, say if you're using a platform like this one here, WizIQ, I think the maximum amount is 25.
In one space at one time. But you won't get everybody in one space. Yeah, you won't get all your participants to come here. So you could have a couple hundred participants, and you still might only get 15. on the time that they're from all over the world. So
yeah, that's the great thing about it.
Different time zones, and sometimes people prefer watching recordings of live sessions, but they do all other tasks and they participate.
Yeah, I had a good reaction last time I did this a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's February.
Hi, Martha. Did you want to say something?
Hi. Yes. Just wait. So just before, I wanted to remind moderators that Nelly has put in Google Plus in the support group a Google Doc that has the moderators who will be supporting. So I'm gonna just put the link over here in case. Because I have been receiving some emails from some of you regarding who's going to be supporting you. So we're all here to provide support if you need anything in particular. Some of you are very experienced and for sure might not need so much help in the process. But for the newcomers, please check the link. I've put it in the chat. But anyway, if you go into Google Plus, you will see in the option of support that Nelly has put here. So just let us know if you need any support in the process of or doubts regarding what you're doing this week, doing the past weeks with the syllabus. That was it.
Thank you,
Will we
Martha.
get a text? Will we get a transcript of the text chat? Does WizIQ produce one?
Neves.
Oh, I'm back. I'm trying to do that. I found out from Dr. Nelly that towards the end of the session, as people have left the room, it's actually possible to go and select it and copy it. So I am going to try and do that.
Okay. Thank you, Neves.
Keeping my fingers crossed that it will work.
Okay.
We are.
So, I think it's time to say goodbye for this week's live session. Good luck with all the tasks of week 3. Let us know if you need any help. Google Plus communities where you can find who can help you, but all coordinators can help you in some way if you need help with any of the tasks of week 3 in our training program. Goodbye all. See you all next week. We'll collaborate.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao from Italy.
Page will tell you.
Ciao, Neves.
Vance, one question. Is the recording available from your YouTube as well? Charles was asking before. So
I think so. I think so. It's one thing about WizIQ, you can't really set it up beforehand, so you're throwing the dice with the streaming. But I think it's come out. I've been watching it, and people have said in Chatwing that that's doing fine. So once I stop the stream, it should be recorded, and you should be able to see it on my YouTube page.
Perfect.
The link for that is
Great.
in the event announcement.
Okay.
Okay.
So people are leaving.
I'll embed the recording in the wiki.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Neves, you will be waiting until everybody leaves and
Yes.
you'll have the recording then. Okay.
Yes. I'm also hoping that this recording worked because at some stage it came up saying, do you want to record? But it was recording from the start, so I have no idea what happened halfway through. Whether it was because of the time extension, I don't know. But the new WizIQ is a bit new to me too. Anyway, goodbye everyone from Italy. Thank you for joining the session today, and I look forward to chatting with you guys in the Google Plus and seeing everyone next week too at the next live session.
Okay. See you there.
See you.
Thanks for hosting us.
Bye.
Thanks everybody. Good
Pleasure.
job everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.